Aries, hi there, friend. This is Joy with Joy of the World, here to take an intuitive peek into the energies going on around you. Subscribers, welcome back. And if you're new to this channel, be sure to click that subscribe button and ring the bell out beside it, and they'll let you know anytime I post new videos. Also, if you find you like the content we provide here at Joy to the World, be sure to give us a big thumbs up, like, and share. So things are kind of brewing, Aries. There's something overshadowing you, and it could be called question. More than doubt, it's question, because there's like picking, moving through, considering, wondering, mulling, moving. There's just some, not just the energy sitting over, it's like you're moving up under it, wondering what it is, checking it out, trying to see what's going on. And so a little bit of words of wisdom were flowing in, speaking before the cards started to come out. And then I'll see if we need to take a further peek to clarify in this energy. But it was hearkening to a new beginning. And you could think, yes, finally, the dreams that I've been waiting on, that I've been waiting for, that I'm ready to take step in and move forward, because it's that to go, that instinct, that very Aries energy of charging full speed ahead. And knowing that the restraints were on you like that racehorse at the gate, kicking and bucking, ready to go for the moment that the bell will ring and it opens up. But it's like a rainy day, like the race has been called, like COVID has stepped in. And that's not to squash your dreams or dishearten you, although you may experience those feelings, and they are quite true, because it's very real, but there's a truth coming in behind it. They were talking more about, in that new beginning, of needing to dissolve the dream, but retain the energy. And that shook, full stop, like, as if like a breakdown in the bus, everybody get off, that type of a thing. And I could feel the color bleed out of your skin. I could feel the heartbeat diminish. And, they've been pushing me to be more of this person with you guys. I was so used to doing this work just intuitively, heart to heart, person to person, looking into the soul of the observer and coming alongside as a witness, just to simply confirm or reiterate certain things that you didn't know that you were showing, but I would see and hear and share, and it would open up dialogue between you and your spirit, not necessarily you and me, but you and your spirit, your soul, yourself, your guides, which is what they've now shifted this into doing, and have put me on a channel that's called Joy to the World, because I am joy, and I want everyone's world to be joyful. It is the pinnacle that is beyond love. Maybe one day I'll show this drawing or finish creating the cards that were actually drawn so long ago. But it's about this peak experience that you seek to reach the mountaintop. And then when you get at the mountaintop, you realize what you were looking for isn't there. And then you notice this little hole in the earth. And more than a curiosity, a nagging, a tugging pulls at you, and you think, what is that? What's in there? Like I was on a mountainside yesterday, day before, and there was this strange little concrete obscured area, and you wonder what is down there. So it tugs at your mind, and you realize there's more to the journey. There's another leg of the race. It's more than a deep dive. It's a descent into the whole reason you were here. The mountain called you, but the voice is coming from the belly, coming from the heart, coming from the being of self, the being of life. Hey there, friend. I'm back. So talk about going into the belly of that mountain. But everything happens for a reason. So in that break to take that phone call, I dug out that drawing. This was from a journal journey in 2013. And so much of my artwork has stayed buried because it was more of a dialogue with myself. But if they're taking time to go back to it in this message, then I can take the time to bring it forward to you. So anyways, hopefully y'all can see that. Okay, let me tilt it like that. So it's this mountain of wonderfulness, what you're seeking. And so you journey, here's the steps journeying up that mountain. It's a crystalline mountain, right? And you think, oh, here's the pinnacle, here's the zenith. I've made it to the top. This is what I was looking for. And you're just at a higher peak to look around at like, what all am I missing? What have I been missing out on? What is it I really seek, what I'm really looking for? And that's that wonderfulness. And you realize there's that little opening, right? And so you begin to descend down. Can you see it? Because really, remember, the belly of the mountain was sending that call. It's from deep within the earth that the mountain rises up. And so you descend inside. And inside in the center is this platform. It's tiny, barely the size of your feet. And you stand on it, and out radiates all of who you are, your beingness, your amness, right? Like I talk about amnios here, it's the amness of who you are. It's more than being, because being still has an action to it. Amness is the stability, the existence, the eternal, the infinite, the divine. So anyways, that's kind of where we're at. What's wild is there are 8 rays, right? And there's this 9th ray that is yet to be known as the undiscovered. So, hey, life is perfect, right? As to why that call had to come through, and maybe lift us out, snap us back to, as difficult as it is, to snap us back to reality so that we can descend into our truth. And the truth that they were talking about is saying that it's not time quite yet, because of the COVID, because of the race being called, those type of things being called. There's something bigger going on right now. The whole world, life itself, the existence of our planet in its state is recalculating. It's like we got off path, we got tilted, which, if you didn't know, the axis of the earth does shift and change, as well as the harmonic vibration of it. And it impacts the health of the planet, not just the man-made things. It has to do with the earth as its own living, breathing entity, its own being. And so there's this recalibration going on. And so a little more time is being bought. And so it's covered. As difficult as that is, it's covered. It doesn't mean your heart's all okay with that, because you're like, what is going on? I'm not okay. I'm not okay. I'm not okay. And it's time to turn down the dial on that din, on that noise ringing around your head, like almost a too tight Saturn's ring, squeezing in like a crown that you have much outgrown. Actually, they're saying a halo, an idea of your perfection. Interesting. Well, didn't they just throw us a curveball there? Because remember the ray that was the unknown, the undiscovered? There was something that you don't know yet, that is being created and crafted even now, not just for you, worldwide, universal, spread beyond universe, omniverse. But so they said, as a butterfly about the dream, remember, needing to be dissolved, but the energy retained. Well, that's very butterfly energy. And dissolving back down. And they're talking about you being in the generations of self. Okay, so they're explaining about how to heal generational curses. And these generational curses, some can be familial, like through the family line, that type of thing. But we're also missing the existence of the earth, the generations of the earth, like the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, right? Look at musical generations, things like that. They change about every 10 years. There's a mindset that shifts and alters and comes about, or maybe every 12, right? Very Jupiterian. And it really changes the face of where things are going and the reflection going on through arts, music, politics, that type of thing, as well as interaction with our fellow man. So they're kind of saying, they were showing me like the monarch butterfly, that there comes the time for the migration, but that's not yet. In the lifetime of a butterfly, it's not long enough that in this mind frame, remember that halo, in this halo you won't go. In this halo you won't go. But I said, remember, when the weather is warm, at this time, the next generation comes on in a matter of a few weeks, okay? So hope eternal will spring forth, and because it's you yourself laying your own egg on the plant that you're feeding on, knowing that your time in this mind frame is almost done, those new eggs will rise up and begin to feed on the plant and eat and shed, eat and shed, eat and shed until you grow to full size, right? And then it's time to enter the chrysalis, to enter the death, the grave, the state of newness of life, and be dissolved down, so that the generation of the butterfly will come about that takes flight, that moves in your fancy, is what they're saying. And I always say butterflies don't have backpacks. So this is a good time to dissolve, to clear down, to dissolve old mindsets, to dissolve associations, like people that you deal with, that you're putting up with, that type of a thing. Sometimes dissolving the preconceived notions surrounding those, because we have a bit of ownership of our own behavior in it. We know that, right? But it can also be that things that haven't changed over a long period of time, really just kind of giving yourself the breathing room and the space from it. Also clearing and cleaning out your environment, because, you know, once we get into Leo, which we're at, we've really made that like a dog leg. It's not even just around a corner, it's a kickback. It's very much it's the comeback of the boomerang. It's the return of that energy. And when it goes out, it builds momentum and it comes back even more so. So it's going to be kind of a quick turn effect. And they're talking about the effects around your home, around your space, maybe even your junk drawer, right? Maybe some holy underwear that needs to go, things that you're still seeing with a glossy eye, like painting up is better than what is because it's your favorite t-shirt. And not that you need to get rid of all of them, but you know, you probably have a lot of favorites right now. And your spread kind of thing, because there was this, all those rays were like, how do they come together? How they come together? I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, I'm that. And so your passion was juxtaposing itself, pulling against itself, tethering you and tying you to this central point. And they want this bit of time of retrospection. Thank you for retro planets, to be able to clarify who you are. Not what you're not. You know, if you realize it, you can base it on your interests, and then leave a few, I can't say empty spots, you know, holding place with love, right? For the things that can birth and awaken, or reawaken. Because remember, that what you love, when you let it go, if it's meant to be, it'll return to you, that type of thing. So don't be afraid of letting go. But that was a thing. It was like, you know, when you tear a plastic wrapper, maybe off a deck of cards or something like that, where it's that real clingy kind. It's not sticky like saran wrap, but for whatever the static that's in it, you can't get off your hand, and you're shaking kind of like a cat paw, and it just keeps picking up to you every time you try and get it to the trash. There's that bit of energy. But static is an unhealthy connection. That's when your energy doesn't know how to feed back into yourself in a different area, to reassimilate who you are, which is brilliant why they're telling us to dissolve down and come into the one state. All right, so hopefully that's all clearing that up and making sense. And they're telling you to be gentle with yourself during this time. You know, butterflies are gentle. They're a boss, they're a badass, but they're gentle. And they even need to be handled gently. So handle yourself gently as you go through this. As you're taking on this new perspective that they're asking you to invite in with curiosity and wonder, and sit with a reflective ear. Ask questions more than you demand answers. Oh, let me jot that down. Thank you. I do listen back to these, but I rarely take the time to jot in the middle for interrupting the flow. But so don't demand those answers. Invite the opportunity for dialogue, for conversation, because as we see, that belly of the mountain that's speaking is inviting you into this relationship, this dialogue, this disclosure. They're wanting to begin to share with you and formulate that new unknown of where you're going is, where the family line is going, where the next generation of our world and our planet is going, this new mindset being birthed in, which is why there's been so much upheaval. But this is also a very strong pivot point, because it's not just the Jupiterian shift that was going on, which we did have a Jupiter-Neptune interaction yesterday, but it's that Saturnian energy, which me having Capricorn, Sun, and Mercury, I have been trained by Daddy Saturn. You talk about learn not to talk back and to get quiet, but it can also make a bit of rigidity from it, to where you tend to not explore out of those lines. But I also have incredibly strong Jupiterian positions, and so they sit and they've been in this tug of war for so long, where they're saying, joy, people, friends, joy to the world. We want you to merge. We want you to hold hands, for we are the world. We are one, and everyone within us has that juxtaposition. Being a massage therapist, you learn about the agonist and the antagonist. The agonist is the muscle that is doing the motion. Say, like the bicep helps you lift something to you. Well, in order for the bicep to fully lift, it needs the tricep, the opposite muscle, the one opposing it, to resist. Because that's what gives it the lever. That's what gets it like a catapult. Levering it back is what allows it to build the tension to spring forward and exert and release the effort. Man, there's some secrets hidden in there. You might want to back up and rewind 2 or 3 times and let your spirit and your guides catch in, because that is laced with innuendo. They have layers going on there, strata of wisdom coming in, like ice cream sandwich, like layer cake, all that good stuff. All right, Aries. So, when I was just, I like to reshuffle my decks and keep them fresh, keep the energy moving through as I think for each sign that I begin to listen for. And when I was doing the Angelarium, I didn't know that they were going to be used in this, but Zadkiel quietly but assuredly came in. And Zadkiel, I would say, is one of my favorites, but I think I have lots of favorites, right? But he's been a tower of power for me for a very long time. Aquamarine, you know, so we have a bit of Piscean energy going on in there. A little bit of color, but a lot of clarity. And one giant shaft. And that's what he was rooted in for so long. And for a little while, Zadkiel hasn't been talking much to me because they had told me it was time to set him free from that pillar of the aquamarine. Because kind of like a centaur, or like you being a ram, going from 4 feet to 2 feet. Well, he went from being positioned and planted like that mountain to being given feet. And it was like, what are you doing to me? But that energy was being called in to set Zadkiel free. Zadkiel is a defender of like the meek, the weak, the poor. He is an advocate of mercy, like the one who comes along like strong but silent, that type of thing. The one who gets things done. And it's not by force or will or bullying or dominance or that type of thing. It's assuredness. It's self-assuredness. That's why he's such a beautiful energy to work with, is literally he commands himself. And that doesn't mean do this, do that. Remember, not that dominance. It's that coming into the amness, that like contracting in the spine and releasing in the muscles, so that you're in this state of stability, that you're in flow and not necessarily flux. Flow has more of a continuity to it, a connection, a maintaining of a connection, as opposed to flux, which can have a bit of a zizzle. That's what they're saying. Hey, you got to roll with it. If you're tuning in here, love you. Just keep rolling like I do. You're having a bit of a zizzle and a zing, right? Some of that static separation. Because as long as you're scuffling along on the floor, you're building up that static into the sock in the wintertime. It's when you go to reach for a knob that it discharges and it arcs. And that's what they're saying. Stay away from that flux. They're wanting you more in the flow right now. And it comes into wanting to change your perspective. Y'all, when I do these close-ups, thank you for being patient with these lights. They've shifted the kind of lights in the place where I rent, and so they can have this otherworldly halo effect. So we might see it on an angle here, but you can see a soft state of the moon. But it's that they're wanting you to do like that. Makes sense? They're wanting you to face yourself. Those dreams I see, usually it's releasing them out as prayers, but there it's discharging. There's a lot of hopes that you've held on to for some time, and they have weighed you down, thus the backpack on the butterfly. They said it would have wearied you too much even to make the journey, because so much of your strength was squandered, wasted, exerted, whichever word resonates with you, on this period of transition, this waiting period. Oh, it's beautiful. I wondered why the other day they said her butterfly feet. Freedom, inspiration, hope, sweetness, nectar, sweet life, doing away with the hard work, the hard-headedness, the insolence, the ignorance, all those type of things. Really dissolving into the one. And more than the universe, it's like the omniverse. Look at Zadkiel's head here. Can you see that shaft of light coming out? It's like I see him here, because he doesn't appear like this to me. Not at all. But his power is being shown in this artistry, and I'm so thankful for it. But this is almost like a crust of the earth is being broken off, as being shed, like the plaque, like when Medusa would freeze somebody into stone, and you're being turned back. You're being returned to pure state of light. Yeah, making me think of Cocoon, being regenerated, youth being restored. So those dreams, a lot of these dreams were made out of logic of, oh, here's how it's going to go, and here's how it'll look, and here's how it's going to da-da-da. And like, can we get back to how it's going to feel? Can we go back to being like a child? They've been sending in a lot of pink ray going on, which they're saying, hey, Joy, get us in some of those rune cards right now. We're wanting some of that pink energy. No, that's way too much. Okay, we'll take what remains. Isn't that how it's going? Oh. I made these weeks and weeks and weeks ago, and this is the first time I've gotten it. I get the unknowable and the in this smaller format like that is from rune lineage of way traditional rune readers have delegated the information. But my guides had asked me to do big open face cards where I listen to what they tell me. And so this is the unknown. This is Odin, the father, the creator, the source, like the sperm, right? New every day. Dream, imagine, all is possible. Isn't that perfect timing? So when it comes to this card, they're like, man, you're clogged up with old seed. Let's get that out of there. It's like, you know, silos and things where they would store grain. After a while, they become kind of moldy and stank. Like full of fungus, those little toxins, things like that, little critter bits that have been going through there nibbling. They're like, it's old, let's get it out. We're going to recycle it out. Life will take care of it. It will feed all the things that you can't quite see, that you're not in charge of. And let us infuse you with fresh new wind and fire. All is possible. So that's what the pink is about. To me, the pink is the high heart. It's very much thymus energy that we have, that we're born with up through about puberty and a little bit after. And then the organ either it becomes inactive on most people, well, on a lot of people, or else it dissolves. How sad that we dissolve. And I wonder if that's when our marrow and our bones goes from being this red, vital, vibrant, full of life and health, and goes to yellow, which is a sign of age, no matter how chronologically old you are. And they're like, in your spirit, in your soul, you never get old. You never get old. It's the fountain of life. We want you to stay young and fresh there, and to let that pink infusion of life flow through these new dreams, this new reality that we're birthing in, this new generation on the earth, to be one that is full of life, joy, love, hope, peace, union, individuality, but also expressed together in unity. Okay. So they want me to step in here first. So this top row, and then we'll get to those two. Let me lay them out so that you know. Okay. Okay. So here the High Priestess and the Two of Blades came in. This is the antique anatomy. It's fantastic. So she puts a little bit of some botany together with the anatomy. And you got a lot going on here in your mind. This to me is showing up, even though it's a bit of feverfew, it's really resonating a lot like chamomile as well. So you've had we say a hothead, but not like temperament. It's more like a personality, like foom, go, foom, go, foom, go. So it stayed in this, like if you ever hotspot your phone, it gets really hot to the touch. And as you know, if your phone ever gets hot out in the sun, it temporarily has to shut down. So you've been overheating and overexerting yourself. And that's where they're wanting to usher in the chamomile energy, which is why they were mentioning that. It's a similar flower, but it's much smaller. And it's a little, should we say, less elegant. It's more... Well, it's herby, of course. And chamomile, the more it's trampled upon, the more it thrives and flourishes and blossoms and blooms. So the more troubles you've seen, the more peace that you have. And they're wanting you to assert that peace, to apply that peace, that bandage of peace, of allowing it to come in and soothe and ease your mind. Because as you can see, you were trying to take on many lifetimes at once. That's a lot of teeth going on up in there. This is not a child's skull, okay? The children's skull, the baby's skulls are saved for the page in these. So this is an adult, and as you can see, there are layers upon layers of teeth, and not letting go of what you had as a youth, of how you were raised, how you grew up, that old generation, that's the generational curse, and allowing the new to come in to descend down. Just like eagles, when they shed their feathers, there comes a time that they've had them so long that they have to be dislodged and removed, the flight feathers especially, and they have to take this time to regroup and be incredibly vulnerable, to put themselves in a silent space, kind of like very hermit energy, to be alone with their star, with their guiding light. To me, that would very much mean the four angles. So your MC, your IC, your ASC, and your DSC. Slow that down. Ascendant, descendant, your midheaven, and your IC, which to me is like your true north. Getting it recalibrated to make sure that your latitude and longitude are going on, so that your mark, your place, you know who you are and where you're starting from. So that's what the wisdom that the high priestess here is bringing in, is like she took the head off to say, we need to take a look at what's going on in here, really, really. But it all boils down to one thing, right? Feverfew, chamomile. You're here for a purpose. All this is here for a purpose. They want you to know that, okay? So next we have the Two of Blades coming in. And it's funny, they're kind of like, all right, it's time to eat. That's interesting because we don't tend to eat with two knives, right? But I can remember some old-fashioned cartoons. They would get out and they'd be like, and somebody pick up the knife and eat their peas off of it. I was like, wasn't that dangerous? Who would do that? There's no way my mother would ever let me do something like that. But okay, so that's what she's saying. She's laughing at me like, this is not a sexy, smooth high priestess. She's like, har, 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 har. What is that about? Har, har, har. She's coming in. She's just having a belly roll laugh, okay? Okay, so she's belly rolling at this. It's like, that's what I told you. You're all grown up now. You're all grown up now. You need to fully tune in to our guidance and our leadership, is what she's saying. And those voices of the past, those old things, they served you to get you to where you are now. But generally, as you're an adult, you don't need to sing your ABC song every day to recognize the letters that are in front of you. So they're saying, let that thing dissolve into the energy and let it be rebirthed and born out in this new type of, well, it's the juxtaposition. It's the contrast of the black and the white going together and the red. So this new original intent. And it leads into the green. That's all the magics merging. Not just spirit, earth, and magic, but coming along with the alchemy as well. Taking things that are heavy and making them light, turning them into gold. But taking the red and the white magic, which is the blood, sweat, tears, the hopes, dreams, and fears, working them, bringing them through to where they become the green magic. Yes, red and white make green. At least they do in this spiritual realm that we're going through. And that brings heaven here on earth. There's a design in it. There's a lot of, it's not exactly dissecting. It sort of is dissecting those things. Like, remember, you're cleaning and clearing out. It's not just like physical closets. It's mental closets as well. To get down to the basic components of what is there and how you can see that they're all coming together in you. What is important to you to retain, to move forward, because even if there are things in the mind, it's still baggage, right? It still is a file, a memory. It's still taking up space on your phone, right? On your hard drive. So we're going to take a peek under Zagkiel here, because 3 rune cards, remember, are what remained. And so he was coming in like that, but there is no inverse. This is breakthrough. Breakthrough, shift, 180 degrees, extraordinary, opportunity of lifetime, radical trust required. And to me, what I know about radical is we tend to think like it's very overt, very noticeable, very attention grabbing, very assertive, but all this, no, it's actually, it has one root. Like that sperm, that Odin card, remember, coming in here. And the root of it is basic. That's what radical is. Because people who are radical are those who return to the basic. They just do it before everybody else. Everybody else is like, oh, snap, what they doing? Did they just say that? Up in my mug, did they just do that? And you're like, mm-mm. And then it sits with you. And something about it rings true or has this delicious harmony to it. Or it, kind of like a Pringle, once you pop, you can't stop. It's that type of thing. It begins to get the train humming, rolling and moving forth out of the station, you know, and you hear the tracks, the ch-toom, 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 woo, woo, and it begins to get moving. So that's that breakthrough. is when you see your basics, your components, your basic parts and pieces. Like mine is, I don't know what mine is, so maybe I need to sit and listen some. Because it's not coming in the spur of the moment. Like I really do want happiness and joy for everybody. I loved Wizard of Oz, the whole world coming to color, and the people that you meet along the way and finding love and value because they were sitting around you all along. But that radical retrust, that opportunity of a lifetime and becoming extraordinary. And that's that full redirection. They said 180. Well, in a sense, I mean, here you're going from this to like examining yourself, taking a close look at yourself. Because knowing where you come from, knowing who you are, and knowing where you're going gives you that point on the map. It gives you... Let me find the drawing again. It's your center point, which would make sense between the 4 angles. It's the eye of your chart. Huh. The eye of the tiger. Is that what I'm hearing? The thrill of the fight. Rising up to the challenge of our rival. And if we don't know by now, no one is our rival. We are. We need to quit fighting ourselves and get on the same page. That was this old way, the old logic that we were born into. Our things are outside of us, that's what we navigate. But coming to realize that we hold so much power, and it's the power of permission. That is our strength. That is our authority. And it's not often need to be spoken out of our mouths. It needs to be known to ourselves. Okay. So that was traveling through Zagheul there in the wisdom of the high priestess. Underneath it, we have the 6 of coins and the 8 of coins coming in. And I know they're going to kind of look the same here. But these are good cards, y'all. It's about enjoying the rewards and fruits of your efforts. That they're basically saying it's worth it. Remember this radical trust, extraordinary, this great opportunity, that it's worth it. And as I say, your future self thanks you. You will thank yourself. So go ahead and begin to see it as something that's worth the effort. Remove from the emotional charge, that static. Don't do it like, this always, blah, blah, blah. No, silence that. Silence the din. And allow the old teeth to move out and the new teeth to move in. The new roots are already there. They need to make their way out so that you can utilize them to your benefit, right? And that's how we digest and we break down and we assimilate and we grow and we restore and we renew. So in the coins, I see good humor showing up as an aspect. I see really knowing who you are at your root, at your core, at your base point, what you will and won't tolerate from yourself as well as others. Okay, that's a key point in life, is knowing what you need to stand up for, okay, and when you need to stand up to others and when you need to stand up to yourself. That's a key navigation point, which has a lot to do with that 180 of the breakthrough that they're talking about. This synergistic energy, which is very Leo. It's very Lionsgate going on here. And that will keep your breath fresh. That will keep your words filled with life and newness. Keeping that good attitude and staying on point. So the other one is the 8 of coins. Now here it's taking time to turn life on its ear. I think that really has a lot to do with children's creativity, because if you notice, they're rolling around a lot. They stick things in their mouth. I mean, even at 8, 9, 10 years of age, they do odd things with common things. And we're like, what made you think of doing that? And we're often like, can be insulting or shocked by it, when really it's a form of processing. Turning cartwheels, standing on your head, walking on a rail, jumping down the steps, all those different things that they do to shake up and alter the experience. They're showing me here really renews your organs. So that's coming into some soft, I don't know who that is, but that put, strange taste in my mouth. Okay. It rejuvenates and revitalizes your organs. So that's why they're the fountain of youth. It's taking in, sometimes you're having the same experiences, and when you can't change or control them, take them in from that new perspective. You know, remember? Take it in a new perspective, and that pink and that high heart, take it in like a child. I mean, when you feel a good little jolt up your spine, skip down the road, 10 paces. And you'll be like, what was that? But the thing is, at that moment, are you thinking what others think of me? Or are you tuning into, how's this make me feel? Yeah, that's hurting my kidneys, y'all. So there's some resistance going on there, but they're saying that's the discharge of your gene, your life force that you came into this life with, that isn't controlled by mindsets of the world, spoken and unspoken, right? Or even your perceived notions of how it is viewed because of some early experiences, right? Of, you know, stop turning on your head, or why are you doing things that way? You know, silence the naysay. It's not the people who said and did that to you, because the people who say and do that to you now are you. And if you say it enough to yourself, it gets loud enough in your space, your amnios around you, that real humans show up and they'll be adding to that mantra as well. That's not my thought. That's what they're saying. So I'm just relaying it right now. Okay, so let's take a peek at what's coming in under her, under that observer. And we have crushed. Continuity counts. So here, it's like a can. They're showing me it like a soda can and it being crushed down to make room for more. They're saying recycle that out. That's old. You're done with it. You're done with that drink, that poison, that mindset, that old day. They're saying not even just changing what you fill your cup with, but changing your cup, your vessel. Remember how that halo had gotten too tight? Okay. Down to base components, you know, that is alchemy, right? So the final card we have coming is the Ten of Coins. There's a whole lot of something going on here, y'all. This is joyfulness, cheerfulness. This is ease and delight. This is all-weather pleasure is what they're talking about here. That you can have delights any time of year, any time, any place, anywhere. So this is nurturing and restoring the Garden of Delights within, the Garden of Eden, the Garden of Perfection, the Babylonian Gardens, the Hanging Gardens, whatever you want to call it, the Seven Wonders of the World. They're like all in, all in. Yeah. Let's go on with that. But it makes your spine very happy, because a healthy spine leads to a healthy life. Because all the communication of the organs, the mindsets, the responses to danger, to friendliness, to pleasure, to pain, threads through there. And if it's out of alignment, it becomes altered and distorted. And then all the response mechanism is springing forth from that. And she's like, Remember, when you live like this and you believe and you're seeking out that cheerfulness, that wonderfulness in that mountain, remember, you will do that descent to the inside to find your footprint, that one key that is innate to who you are, like your new name, like your truth, your the eye of your chart. What makes you happy about yourself? What do you love about yourself? At the core. 1, 2, 3 things max, okay? And that makes your spine aligned. And not just your spine, the alignment of the eyes can see properly, because there's this bone inside the head that strongly resembles a mirror of the pelvis, and that they get on the same page. That what you think is what you walk out. That your example is lived more than spoken. That people can see it just by looking at you. They see you walk in integrity and truth. I love that, Aries. So let's get an energy oracle card for you guys. For Aries, heading forward in this bold journey, this moment in the in-between. Let's get that card. Up there we go. Thank you. All right, they're saying take that little bit of downtime. It's that little bit of time, because it came out like this. And cards to me aren't just what they say, it's how they show themselves. They're speaking fully, just like our body language. You know, being a massage therapist, that is my primary language. So they have me look at the way they're communicating, and they're like, come on, give it a minute. Give it a little time. It's developing, it's growing, it's ushering its way forth. But doing that resting, that regeneration, that little bit of rehab, that bit of rehab. But it's beautiful. Look at that. It's fantastic. And, you know, we've got help along the way with Zagkiel up here. Someone who just a few months ago was set free in his own into a new form and wondering what to do with it. So not only does he come along as a divine being, he comes along as a personal divine being, one that's having his own experience as well and can relate. So, hey Aries, this is Joyce. I love you. We'll talk soon.